To answer this question, I'm going to take the right hand side and expand it using the sign addition. So that gives me r sine x cos of pi over 3 plus r cos x sine of pi over 3. And if we equate coefficients of sine x and sine x, and that tells me that 2 has to equal r cos pi over 3. So 2 equals 1/2 r, so r would be 4. And I'm just going to check this with the other one. Cos x and cos x, which means that 2 root 3 has to equal r sine pi over 3. So 2 root 3 equals r root 3 over 2, and again r is 4. So f of x equals 2 sine x plus 2 root 3 cos x. That means we can say that f of x is 4 sine of x plus pi over 3. And we're told that x is between 0 and 2 pi. Asked for the range of f of x, sine goes between plus and minus 1, which means that f of x is going to go between plus 4 and minus 4. So if we sketch the sine curve, and we have plus pi over 3, which means that all of the x values have been translated pi over 3 to the left. So our curve will look like this. We go between plus 4 and minus 4, and our key points are at pi over 6, 2 pi over 3, 7 pi over 6, and 5 pi over 3. We can say that f of x is not a one-to-one function. Therefore, f to minus 1 of x does not exist. You can only have an inverse if you have a one-to-one function, which means one value of x gives one value of y, whereas in this case we have two values of x giving the same, and in some cases 3 values of x giving the same y value, so this would be many to 1. We're asked to find two values a and b such that this is a one-to-one function with the same range. So g of x we know equals 4 sine of x plus pi over 3. So what we want to do is find out when minus 4 equals this, so that is when minus 1 equals the sine of x plus pi over 3. And if we take the inverse of minus 1, we get 270 degrees, or 3 pi over 2. So our x would be 9 pi over 6, so that's multiplying the 3 pi over 2, top and bottom by 3, minus 2 pi over 6, which gives 7 pi over 6. I then repeat that for when 4 equals our function, so I want to know when 1 equals the sine of x plus pi over 3, and that's when pi over 2 equals x plus pi over 3, and that will be when x equals 3 pi over 6 minus 2 pi over 6, which is pi over 6. So that tells me that a is pi over 6 and b is 7 pi over 6, and this just takes the part of the graph where we go from 1 to minus 1. Part 5, we're asked to find the inverse function, so I'm going to let y equal 4 times the sine of x plus pi over 3. That means that y over 4, and I'm trying to make x the subject here, equals the sine of x plus pi over 3. Means the inverse sine of y over 4 equals x plus pi over 3. So x equals the inverse sine of y over 4 minus pi over 3. So we write that the inverse of g is the inverse sine of x over 4 minus pi over 3. And the domain of the function is, or the inverse function, is the range of the function. And the range of our function was from -4 to +4, which means the domain of this function will be from -4 to +4.